Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Guys of Magic. This is Hunter and Shane. Say what up, Shane.
What's up, nerds?
We are back this time, October 31st, 2023. That's right. Happy Halloween to all of you guys. We are going through some more Lost Caverns of Ixalan spoilers. We had a big stream today. I think it was about an hour long. They showcased off even more cards. Feel like this set is coming to a close, but we have a ton to talk about today in the rares and mythic department. But before we get started, I want to remind you, if you're not following us on Instagram, you should, because we post all of the spoilers, not just the rares and mythics we talk about in the video. So let's go ahead and start with this first one. This is Warden of the Inner Sky. It is 1 white mana for a 1/2 creature human soldier. It says as long as there are 3 or more counters on Warden of the Inner Sky, it has flying and vigilance. Also has another ability where you can tap 3 untapped artifacts and or creatures you control. Put a +1/+1 counter on Warden of the Inner Sky. Scry 1, activate only as a sorcery.
This card seems really good to me, dude.
You think so?
Yeah, I really do think so. I'm sure that there's a lot of debate, like you said, around this card going in certain decks, but like I I genuinely think this is good enough to steal a spot in a soldier deck, 100%.
Well, yes, it's a one-drop soldier, but I don't know if it replaces the one-drop soldiers that are there already.
I think it does.
Mainly because this doesn't do anything until it gets the 3 counters. And yes, I understand that it can do the thing to itself, but activating only as a sorcery leaves you open for attacks because you're essentially in mono white. It's always going to be just creatures, white weenie decks. But yeah, tapping 3 of your creatures down prevents you from blocking.
Yeah. I still think I think this could easily take the spot of like uh Lunarch veteran in my opinion.
I don't think so. I think Lunarch Veteran is very different in terms of you're gaining all that life. So I think that deck is mainly for like burn decks. It's going against mono red, gains you that life. It really stifles mono red.
It does make sense though, dude. I guess you're right. The life gain is there for a reason. I don't know. I just really want to like this card. I think people are gonna brew with it at least. I really like this card.
And maybe in like a mono white counters matter deck. I think you can see that. Making it have flying and vigilance is going to be great. Obviously, if it gets 3 counters, it'll be a 4/5 with flying and vigilance.
Yeah, dude.
Um, I don't know. I guess we will see.
We will. Maybe my brain's just too like I see the word soldier and my brain just is too trained on
It's
that.
good.
So
Soldier good.
yeah.
Hey, maybe you'll like this. This is Deepfathom Echo. It's 2, a green and a blue for a 4/4 creature merfolk spirit. So at the beginning of combat on your turn, Deepfathom Echo explores. Then you may have it become a copy of another creature you control until end of turn.
I do like this card.
Merfolks and spirits in Simic, Shane? That sounds like a card that you love.
Those are like that's like check and check.
Yeah.
We're seeing a lot of the Merfolk type obviously in this set, but I think there might be a Merfolk deck on the horizon, dude, in standard.
Could be, yeah. I mean, this seems like a good slot into the Merfolk Recon deck.
I'm definitely looking at this card for the Merfolk Precon. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, I think this is a fantastic card. It explores, it becomes a copy of another creature you control. That's check, right?
Yeah, like it's at least for the Precon we just mentioned, that checks all the boxes. It does everything that Precon wants to do.
Yeah, it happens every turn too, baiting combat.
Yeah. And that's what the Precon does on combat, yeah. Cards nuts, dude.
But in standard, I think you're right. There might be a Merfolk something there.
Or maybe I'll see a cool Spirits on the horizon, dude. Ooh. I've seen
Eh,
Spirits in standard in a minute.
yeah, who knows? Let's move on to a new legendary artifact. This is Thousand Moon Smithy. It's 2 and 2 white for a legendary artifact. It says when it enters the battlefield, create a white gnome soldier artifact creature token with this creature's power and toughness are equal to the number of artifacts and or creatures you control. Also, it says at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, you may tap 5 untapped artifacts and or creatures you control. If you do, transform Thousand Moon Smithy. It transforms into Barracks of the Thousand. It is a legendary artifact land that can tap for a white. It says whenever you cast an artifact or creature spell using mana produced by Barracks of the Thousand, create a white gnome soldier artifact creature token with this creature's power and toughness are equal to the number of artifacts and or creatures you control.
There is a lot of text on this card, dude.
There's a lot of text. All you got to remember is the text on the front is the same as the back. So you're still making that gnome, but if you tap the land, you're making a gnome for every time you tap the land. Either
Wait.
way, this card's
Oh.
incredible.
Yeah. No, I agree. Is that tapping 5? You think that's gonna be tough, or do you even care about that?
I don't think it's gonna be tough at all. You can tap 5 artifacts and creatures, like if you just have total.
Yeah, but then you're not attacking with those, dude. Ooh.
Depends. Depends on if you have artifacts on the field. If you have artifacts on the
Yeah,
field,
that's true.
might
That's
as
true.
well. You can tap itself.
Dude, you could tap map tokens too. You could tap a lot of stuff actually now I think about it.
Mm-hmm. This
Huh.
counts as itself too. It doesn't say other artifacts.
Interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
this could be a pretty good card.
I would say so. For 4 mana, you get a gnome that comes in and as big as whatever you have. It's at least a 1/1 because of this. Actually, no. Creature's power and toughness is equal to the number of artifacts and creatures. It comes in as a 2/2 because it counts itself.
True. At the minimum.
I like this card.
I think I'm liking this card more. I think it's yeah. The more you're saying, the more it's growing on me.
As a mono white player, count me in.
Yep, that's you, dude.
Let's continue with the mono white. This is Fabrication Foundry. It's 1 and a white for an artifact. You can tap it to add a white. Spend this mana only to cast an artifact spell or activate an ability of an artifact source. And another ability, we could pay 2 and a white, tap it, exile 1 or more other artifacts you control with total mana value X. Return target artifact card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery.
A lot going on in this card.
Yeah, it's for those mono white players that really want to do the artifact theme. It's different for sure.
I mean, it's a cool rock for you, and then it's a really cool
It's
recursion.
like I said, it's only a rock if you're doing the artifact thing. If you're going
Right,
heavy with
right.
the artifacts, like I mean Boros equipment, this will probably fit into that just because you can cast equipment with this. But I don't know.
Yeah,
If you
that's what I was
wanted to
saying.
get an equipment back, you can get it back.
If you're playing artifacts, this is a cool little dork.
You could say rock again. Go ahead.
Okay, that's a cool little rock dork.
Yes, it is. Let's move on to another mono white card. This is Kutzil's Flanker. It's 2 and a white for a 3/1 creature cat warrior. It's got flash and it says when it enters the battlefield, choose 1. You can put a +1/+1 counter on Kutzil's Flanker for each creature that left the battlefield under your control this turn, or you can gain 2 life and scry 2, or you exile target player's graveyard.
The cat, dude.
It's a cat,
I mean,
and
you
it
like
is
it.
fantastic. This is a really good card. This card, I mean, all those people that want to do the descend thing, they're going to be making descend decks. Well,
Yeah.
flash this in, exile that player's graveyard, descends over.
Yeah, they're big sad.
Yeah, good
Car-
luck, good try.
Cards like these are always seen as like a sideboard piece. I could see this being a really good sideboard a piece in like a limited or something. It just seems playable anywhere though, actually. Getting the counters on it or the graveyard, yeah. I like it.
Yeah, I think this is a sideboard piece, and like I said, if this descend thing is actually a thing and it starts to become pretty viable, then yes, this is a fantastic sideboard piece.
Yeah. You're gonna need to deal with that somehow.
But other than just a sideboard piece, I still think it's a really good card. For 3 mana, 3/1, flash it in. Like if you just get a board wipe, you flash this in and put a +1/+1 counter on it for everything that got wiped on your side. That's pretty good.
Yeah, you just like cats.
Hey, this is a good cat. Moving on to Corpses of the Lost. It's 2 and a black for an enchantment. It says skeletons you control get +1/+0 and have haste. And when Corpses of the Lost enters the battlefield, create 2/2 black skeleton pirate creature token. Also, at the beginning of your end step, if you descended this turn, you may pay 1 life. If you do, return Corpses of the Lost to its owner's hand.
Uh
First time we're seeing skeletons in this set.
it'd be cool if they're yeah, we're probably gonna see more, right? But
I don't
I
know.
wish I wish you could activate it again without having to bounce it. I mean, I guess that's I don't know. This seems like a lot of things you got to do.
Things you gotta do. Yeah, it's.
Y- Yeah,
I mean, there's like a skeleton typal, and that would be cool, but I don't believe there is a bunch of skeletons right now.
well, not yet. You know, this will be in standard for what
3 more
years? It feels
years.
like. Yeah,
Yeah.
So I'm sure we'll see some skeletons down the road.
Yeah. I guess we will see. Let's move on to the final god, the green one. This is Ojer Kaslem, deepest growth. It's 3 and 2 green for a 6/5 legendary creature god. It's got trample, and it says when it deals combat damage to a player, reveal that many cards from the top of your library. You may put a creature card and or a land card from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom in a random order. It also has another ability that says when it dies, return it to the battlefield tapped and transformed under its owner's control. It is transformed into Temple of Cultivation. It's a land that can tap for a green. It also has another ability you could pay 2 into green, tap it, transform Temple of Cultivation. Activate only if you control 10 or more permanents and only as a sorcery.
I like
This
that.
is this is crazy.
That seems like another easy one to flip back over. We keep talking about that, and the front side's just nuts.
The front side is insane.
Yeah,
5 mana for a 6/5 with trample. When it deals damage, you just put a creature card onto the field. Like what?
and or okay, this can get a creature and a land at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is nuts. What?
It's like, oh man, that's crazy. I just accidentally showed you an Atraxa. It's on the field for free because of this card. There's
Yeah,
no
like
stipulation on how big a creature can be.
if this card goes unblocked, dude, its floor is you just dig 6. Like that's nuts.
Yeah, it's insane. Uh, I
The
love
green
it.
always gets the fun toys, dude.
The green does get the fun toys. Does this fix mono green? I don't know.
Dude,
Like
mono green was such an annoyance for so long. Like, let them be bad for just a little longer.
it's been bad for like 2 years now.
Let it go longer.
Mono green can't seem to break the threshold that mono red, mono white, and mono black are in right now. Even mono blue's in a better spot. Yeah, Ojer Kaslem, huge god.
Big bomb. I would say a huge bomb.
Mm. Moving on to Trumpeting Carnosaur. It's 4 and 2 red for a 7/6 creature dinosaur. It's got trample. It says when it enters the battlefield, discover 5. And another ability we can pay 2 in a red, discard Trumpeting Carnosaur. It deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker.
Wow, this is a really good dinosaur.
Yeah. Yep.
It's it's. Oh man. Yeah, I really like this card. This is it's gonna come in. You know what? Actually, okay, sorry. I think the wording on this is amazing for especially you. You could flip this over with Gishath and it discovers 5. So now you get to go look even more like what? This card's so good, dude.
We must go deeper.
One Deepa.
Yeah, I think this card's great. The flexibility where you can pitch it to deal 3 damage is something that's annoying right now. Is also incredible.
Yeah, I 100% think that I could be wrong, but that the flexibility seems like it's more geared towards probably standard, just because it's only 3. But yeah, in
Yeah,
standard, that's gonna be awesome.
I think uh I think we're gonna see a standard dinosaur deck, and I'm all for it.
Well, if we see it, it will be from your screen. So
Yeah, it's true. I'm gonna be playing it. I'm gonna be brewing up a deck. Let's move on to the cards they talked about that are exclusive to the set and collectors. That's right, it is the commander only cards. This first one is Illustrious Wanderglyph. It's 4 and a white for a 2/2 artifact creature golem. It has Ascend, which we haven't seen in a while, so if you forgot, it means if you control 10 or more permanents, you get the Sitting's Blessing for the rest of the game. It also says other artifact creatures you control get +2/+2 as long as you have the City's Blessing. And at the beginning of each upkeep, create a 1/1 colorless gnome artifact creature token.
I mean, it seems pretty good.
It does seem good, but for 5 mana, is it?
Hey, it's not 6, so it's a little cheaper than 6.
A 5 mana 2/2 that can create 1/1s that could potentially be 3/3s if you have the City's Blessing. I mean, it also pumps. Oh no, it doesn't pump itself. It still stays at 2/2. It's other.
Yeah, you probably won't be attacking with this very often, but the things that it's going to be creating will help you ascend. I mean, you're playing this on turn 5. It's going to help you get that ascend, right? So at the time you play this, you're probably pretty close to having 5 lands unless you ramped with like a mana rock or something. But no, that doesn't even matter because it's still going to be a permanent. Regardless, you're going to have a lot of permanents by the time you play this card, and then it's just going to make more. So you can get City's Blessing pretty quick, dude.
I don't think he's that good at 2/2.
No?
Maybe if it was a 3/3, maybe I'd change my mind. But a 2/2 is just too easy to kill.
Yeah.
And this is a creature, so it is easy to removal. I
All
don't
right,
know.
maybe I don't like it.
Yeah. Illustrious Wanderglyph. Interesting. Another one that's exclusive is Altar of the Wretched. It's 2 and a black for an artifact that says when it enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a non-token creature. If you do, draw X cards, then mill X cards, where X is that creature's power. It also says craft with 1 or more creatures for 2 and 2 black, and for 2 and a black, return Altar of the Wretched from your graveyard to your hand. When it is crafted into Wretched Bonemass, which is a star creature skeleton horror. Its power and toughness are equal to the total power of the exiled cards used to craft it. And it has flying as long as an exiled card used to craft it has flying. The same is true for First Strike, Double Strike, Death Touch, Haste, Hexproof, Indestructible, Lifelink, Menace, Protection, Reach, Trample, and Vigilance. What do we think of Altar of the Wretched, Shane?
I like the front half. I like that you can sacrifice something, potentially draw a good amount of cards.
But then you gotta mill that amount of cards.
Yeah, which is fine because then you can use those. Um, then you can use those to craft though. So I think this kind of feeds itself in all aspects. So
It
maybe that's not even
does.
a bad thing.
Yeah, but it's doing a lot. I mean, it's interesting that this is gonna have the total power of the creatures and all of the keywords of the creatures. I like the card design there. We're crafting them together to make this one monster skeleton horror.
Yeah.
But
I'm
yeah,
imagining you're probably sacrificing something fairly large, even though that kind of sucks then because you're going to kill it. But you sacrifice something big, draw your cards, mill your cards, and then use what you sacrificed plus what you milled to craft and make something even bigger. So
well, the
you could,
flexibility is also
yeah,
that you can craft with more than one creature.
that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
I'm saying so like you could literally craft with this and then the card that you sacrificed to draw and then whatever you milled you could craft with a bunch of stuff,
Yeah. It's
but then you're
interesting.
just gonna freaking 4-for-1 yourself when this gets killed.
Let's move on to Contest of Claws. 1 and a green for sorcery. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to another target creature. If excess damage was dealt this way, discover X where X is the excess damage.
Ooh, I like this.
I do too.
This is like an insane fight spell.
It's not a fight. It's better than a fight spell.
That's what I'm saying. It's insane. It's better than a fight spell. Right off the bat, that's good. And then whatever you're doing excess, you're gonna cascade basically. Dude, I'm gonna be. I keep saying this over and over. I think Discover is gonna be nuts.
Yeah, I think Discovery is going to be one of those mechanics that were like too powerful.
Yeah,
And I understand like Wizards goes through a process of testing cards and eventually they're like, oh, it's not broken at all. Let's push it out to the public. And then the public plays with it and they're like, this is broken. I love it.
yeah.
It's happened many times. So we will see if Discover is actually broken or not. But there is still randomness there.
Oh yeah. But they said they wanted to like fix Cascade, right? But like we talked about this earlier, the fact that you can just put whatever you discover, you don't have to play, you just put in your hand. Like that flexibility is pretty damn good, dude.
Yeah, I agree. But this is a fantastic like removal spell.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Contest of Claws is a must have and something that's green. And
Big
I
fan of
love the
it.
fact that a cat and a dinosaur are fighting each other in the art. It's awesome.
And the cat looks like it's winning.
Don't know. Looks like he's about to punch the dinosaur with a
Yeah,
punch of
like
a dinosaur.
punch its head off, dude.
Yeah. Moving on. Or Rich Stalactite. It's 1 and a red for an artifact. You can tap it to add a red, spend this mana only to cast an instant or sorcery spell, and craft with 4 or more red instant and or sorcery cards for 3 and 2 red. When you do, it is crafted into Cosmium Catalyst. It's an artifact that you can pay 1 and a red, tap it, choose an exiled card used to craft Cosmium Catalyst at random. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost.
This is so expensive, dude.
This is a no from me.
It's like it reads nuts, in my opinion. Like you could just do free shenanigans, but the 2, the 5, the 2, it's like you gotta do so much shit to make this work.
I understand what it's trying to do, and it's like I can cast my things again, but you're doing it for extra steps. Let's put a card in that says you can have like I don't know flashback on cards in the graveyard.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because this is like you're gonna. It sounds. I mean, unless I'm reading it wrong, you're gonna have access to those 4 as long as this card's on the battlefield.
That's what I mean. Like you'll have
So
access to the 4 uh,
yeah,
as long as it's exiled, right?
right.
So as soon as you cast that card, I assume it leaves exile and goes back to the graveyard.
Well,
Yeah,
then
because
that's
it
not very
says
good because then you can't transfer those back. So after that, then that means after you cast those 4, this does nothing.
it could be 4 or more. So if you wanted to, you can craft it with as many as you want. So you just do the whole graveyard. Then you can cast them all again, and they go back to the grave because you're casting them, right? And then this just sits on the field, does nothing.
Well, I'm sure we're thinking about it wrong, but I thought this card was gonna be or not thought, but this card seemed really good in the beginning, but now you're kind of talking me out of it.
That's what I do. I give you the backside, or there is no backside because it's a double phase card. But you know what I mean.
Sure.
Moving on to another one of these exclusive commander-only cards. It's Eye of Ojer. 3 generic mana for an artifact. You can tap it to add 1 mana of any color. And it has another ability we could craft with 2 that share a card type for 6. When you craft it, it turns into Apex Observatory. It's an artifact that says it enters the battlefield tapped. As it enters, choose a card type shared among 2 exiled cards used to craft it. You can tap it. The next spell you cast this turn of the chosen type can be cast without paying its mana cost.
Is this a good 3-mana rock?
I don't think so. I want to be honest, I'm not a big fan of this craft stuff.
Yeah, I think we don't. Maybe we just don't like it yet 'cause we haven't played with it.
I like the fact that it can tap it and give itself the mana. So, I mean, technically, you just need 5 other mana to craft it. But the
Yeah,
stipulation to get 2 of the same card types, I mean, if you had, let's say, a sorcery, little tiny sorceries for a couple mana, and you craft this for 6, and then this comes in as Apex Observatory, and then you're using this to cast free giant sorceries.
true. Or you do 2 creatures, get creatures now. Like I think it's flexible. It's just the cost to entry is a bit high, but I will say the ability on it, it seemed. I'll say the thing, dude. Free spells are never bad.
Free
Wait,
spells
is
are
that how I
never
say it?
bad, but it
Free
is
spells are always good.
slow. Yeah, free spells are always good. But it is really slow entering the battlefield tap, so you can't even do it right away. That is pretty annoying.
Well, the mana side enters untap, which is nice, but yeah. Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, you gotta just put 9 mana into this to get to Apex Observatory, and that's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot.
You also have to spend the mana to get that craft ability, not only the 6, but also what you spent to get it either in the graveyard or on the battlefield as a permanent. I don't know. I have Ojer weird. Moving on to Paleontologist Pickaxe. It's 2 generic mana for artifact equipment. It says whenever equipped creature attacks, draw a card, then discard a card. It's got an equip cost of 1. And you can also craft with 1 or more creatures for 5. When you craft it, it turns into Dinosaur Headdress. It's an artifact equipment that says when it enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature you control. As Dinosaur Headdress becomes attached to a creature, choose an exiled creature card used to craft Dinosaur Headdress. Equipped creature is a copy of the last chosen card. Equip cost of 2.
There's a lot going on this card too, man.
Like I said, these craft abilities are weird. Basically, what you're trying to do here with this craft ability is you're exiling the creature that was in the graveyard because you're probably not doing it to the one that's already on the field because what's
Yeah,
the point?
yeah.
Uh, I mean, do you really want your creature that back that bad? At that point, just run something else to get it back.
Well, no, this seems like it kind. I mean, again, it's going to be the 5 cost that's stopping this, but it seems like this would be a good reanimator. Going like a good reanimator deck because you're drawing and then discarding. You're probably discarding the big card, right, that you don't want to cast. And then when you equip this to the creature, you target the big thing that you crafted
You
with.
know, now that I'm thinking about it, this will always become a copy of that, which is pretty cool. So it never goes away. unless you get
Yeah.
rid of this equipment.
Unless they can get a card out of exile, which
It's
yeah, it
pretty
is good.
impossible.
So this will cost 5 to do the craft, but then at least the first time it comes in, it'll be equipped immediately, and then a copy. So like maybe that's good enough. Maybe this card is actually good.
I actually am talking myself into this card because now that I think about it, most of the reanimator effects in standard is a 5 cost, right? To bring something back to the graveyard for free, it's always going to be about 5 mana. And that is what this is, right?
What do you mean you're talking yourself into it? I was the one that brought up Reanimator.
Yeah,
I'm talking you into this.
you could be.
Give it to me.
I'll give it to you.
Thank you.
Crap, but yeah, and the fact that this is just going to always be attached to a creature and turns into the creature that, I mean, let's think about it, man. Attrax is never going away.
That's so annoying, dude. Oh, it's so annoying. That's awesome.
Like, I understand the flavor of, oh, we'll make them dinosaurs. Nah, make this into Titan of Industry. Who needs dinosaurs when you got big 7/7?
Yep.
I like it. We have a new legendary creature. This is Xavier Sal, Infested Captain. It's a black, green, blue for a 3/3 legendary creature, human fungus pirate. It's got an ability where you can tap it, remove a counter from another permanent you control, populate. Activate only as a sorcery. As a reminder, populate, it's create a token that's a copy of a creature token you control. It also has another ability. You can tap it, sacrifice another creature to proliferate. Activate only as a sorcery.
This card is absolutely nuts, dude. Holy shit. You, do you see it? Do you see what I see?
I see it.
This would be an insane commander that deals with like finality counters that we're seeing, or just I guess any negative counters. This is really cool because you could take the counter off and then populate whatever you just remove the counter from. Like this card is awesome.
Yeah, this card is so cool. We will obviously talk about this card as a potential commander when we do our commander grades on this set. But man, let me just say right now, Xavier Sal, super cool.
Yeah, I got my eyes on you, dude. And I'm getting mad Last of Us vibes with that fungus on the face. Let's go, dude.
Or some Pirates of the Caribbean.
All that too. Yeah, there you go. I really like this card a lot.
Yeah, it's
I think there's a
pretty
lot going on here.
powerful. Pretty
Even
powerful, man.
the only as a sorcery, I don't even care about that.
Yeah, I agree. Moving on to Tetzin Gnome Champion. It is blue, red, and white for a 2/2 legendary artifact creature, Gnome. It says whenever Tetzin or another double-faced artifact enters the battlefield under your control, mill 3 cards. You may put an artifact card from among them into your hand. It also has craft with 6 artifacts for 4 mana. When it's crafted, it turns into the Golden Gear Colossus, which is a 6/6 legendary artifact creature gnome. It's got vigilance and trample, and it says whenever the Golden Gear Colossus enters the battlefield or attacks, transform up to one other double-faced artifact you control. Create 2 1/1 colorless gnome artifact creature tokens. So we have a potential commander that's all about the flip artifacts
Yeah, like I was gonna say,
that
we'll
we
probably
just
talk
kind of
about him.
talked about. Yeah.
We'll probably talk about him more in a commander grade, but this again could be a cool commander. I feel like one of the either Steven or David might potentially enjoy something like this.
I think Steven would do it for the memes, right, Steven?
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. This seems really cool though.
It is interesting. Uh, I don't know. I don't know if I like it completely because in my mind, you got to do kind of a lot to get to that point. But you're
Yeah,
kind
you
of
have to
just
do a lot of
running.
number crunching too, dude.
You're
How
running
many?
specifically artifact double face cards.
Yeah, and at least the ones we just saw, if you flipped them without doing the craft thing, they probably wouldn't do anything, right? Like that, the dinosaur headdress wouldn't do anything if you just flipped it without crafting. Apex Observatory wouldn't do anything unless you crafted it. So you have to be very careful with these flips.
Yeah, the Cosmium Catalyst wouldn't do anything. It's it's yeah. I don't know. It's
I'm
weird.
gonna say put a pin in it.
Put a pin in it. Tetzin. Well, let's move on to some more Jurassic World cards. Of course, there was more of them. We're going to talk about Henry Wu InGen Geneticist. It is a black, a green, and a blue for a 1/4 legendary creature human scientist. It says it and other human creatures you control have exploit. If you don't remember, that means when a creature with exploit enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a creature. Whenever a creature you control exploits a non-human creature, draw a card. If the exploited creature had power 3 or greater, create a treasure token.
I don't know how to feel.
I don't know how to feel about it either. I mean, it's cool because it's like exploit. It's like, oh, the dinosaur comes in and eats a human, or, or no, it's the other way around. A non-human. You exploit a non-human, you eat the dinosaur. I don't know.
Well, you're like breaking the dinosaur down to like do some experiments on it or something. I don't know.
DNA.
It's in the DNA.
It's got the
This
sweet
seems
spot
like
though.
this seems like something cool though. Yeah, I feel like you're gonna want to be drawing cards. I feel like you're really gonna want to be making treasures.
Yeah, treasure
This could,
production in different colors is cool.
I'm gonna give it another. Put a pin in it.
Put a pin in it. I guess we'll talk about this in the commander grades as well because it's a legendary creature.
Yeah.
How about a new dinosaur, Shane? Grim Giganotosaurus. It is 5, a black, and a green for a 10/10 creature dinosaur. It has the ability to pay 10, a black and a green, for monstrosity 10. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each creature with power 4 or greater your opponent's control. Which means if this creature isn't monstrous, put 10 +1/+1 counters on it and it becomes monstrous. And when it becomes monstrous, destroy all artifacts and creatures other than itself.
Well, that's a big dumb beater if I've ever seen one.
Do you telling me you don't want to see a 2020
I
dinosaur
do
coming
want
at
to
you?
see a 2020, dude, but you can't control your opponents having 4 or greater. I mean, I guess in EDH things are normally bigger, but like, come on, man.
It's true. I mean,
That's so much mana.
it is a lot of mana, but when it does that ability, it destroys everything, and now you just got a 2020 on the field.
Giganotosaurus, dude, kill it as they dump a billion mana into this.
Yeah, that would suck. Moving on to Spitting Dilophosaurus. It is 2 and a black for a 3/2 creature dinosaur. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, put a -1/-1 counter on up to 1 target creature. And creatures your opponents control with -1/-1 counters on them can't block.
Well, this is a very flavorful and iconic moment of the movie, and I'm about it. And then the ability is really, really good. Start
That's
dishing
really
out -1,
interesting.
-1s, dude.
Yeah, we don't really see that -1/-1 counter thing too often.
We have it in a minute, yeah. And then the fact that those can't block anymore, that's super strong, I think.
Yeah, that's a powerful effect.
I feel
I
like you're gonna
like
put
it.
this in your dinosaur deck, dude.
Kind of goes. It pairs really well with Toxroll.
Ooh. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Now everything can block.
Yeah. That's sick, actually.
Moving on to another dinosaur. This is Cresting Mosasaurus. It is 6 and 2 blue for a 4/8 creature dinosaur. It's got an emerge cost of 6 and a blue, which means you may cast this spell by sacrificing a creature and paying the emerge cost reduced by that creature's mana value. It has an ability where it says when it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, return each non-dinosaur creature to its owner's hand. So a bounce spell.
That this could be a potential bounce spell for 1 blue mana.
I mean, yeah, that's true. All non-dinosaurs back to your hand.
I
Bye
kinda really
bye.
like this card.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's really cool.
I don't know if I'd run it personally because I am a Naya dinosaur guy, so this is blue.
Yeah, yeah. I get that. But I mean, I might run this in like a deck that does not care about dinosaurs.
Oh, just to bounce all non-dinosaurs but this?
Yeah, what if you only have like one thing on the field and it's like a big thing and you're losing and you're just like, all right, I'm gonna sacrifice that to this, make it cost super cheap, bounce everything back to the hand, and now I got a 4/8 and everyone else is super sad. Unless I'm playing against you with dinosaurs.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of this one.
I kinda like it.
The final card we're talking about today is Savage Order. 2 and 2 green for sorcery. Says as an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature with power 4 or greater. Search your library for a dinosaur creature card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. It gains indestructible until the next turn.
That's a really good dinosaur tutor bud for you.
Good old dinosaur tutor. It's literally natural order just for dinosaurs. So in a way it's worse.
I mean, it's
Th-
definitely worse, but this is gonna make it more affordable for your deck if you're playing dinosaurs.
Yeah, that's true. It's got to sacrifice a dinosaur with power 4 or greater. Or I mean any other creature, I guess. But
Yeah.
get that dinosaur. Gets indestructible to my next turn. That's pretty cool.
Pretty good.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool dinosaurs. But yeah, that is going to do it for us today. Shane, before we end it, we went through a lot of cards today. What was your favorite card we talked about?
We really did, dude. Hunter, I think I'm gonna say that Merfolk just because I'm so easy to please. It's a Merfolk and a spirit, and it's cool.
Simic Merfolk Spirit. Everything that you like wrapped up in one card. Deepfathom Echo. That's a pretty good one.
What about
I
yours?
think I think my favorite honestly is gonna be Xavier Sal,
Oh, I forgot
Infested
about that. Yeah.
Captain.
Damn, I was so stoked
He's
on that guy too.
he's really cool. I
Dude,
didn't actually choose
or
a dinosaur this time.
wait, what?
I said I didn't actually choose a dinosaur this time.
I'm proud of you. I
Thanks.
might actually have to change, dude. I might actually like that Paleontologist pickaxe too. I forgot about that, but there's a lot of cards here I like. Sorry, I got a lot of favorites.
Ojer Kaslem, also very good.
That was yeah. Today was a
Yeah,
hard day.
it was. But yeah, that is gonna do it. So comment down below what was your favorite card talked about today. Maybe we missed something when we were discussing these cards that we didn't see. Let us know. If you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already so you can stay up to date with everything that we got going on. Check the description where you'll find links to all of our social media accounts. That's at Guys at Magic for each one. We are on Instagram, X, and TikTok. Also, we're on Patreon. If you wanted to support us more than you already are just by watching these videos, check that out for some exclusive content. We got some really awesome stuff going on there. And until the next video, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.
Bye bye.